Tony East here with Forbes and Locked On Pacers here in Gamebridge Fieldhouse. I'm up in the concourse because there's a little game going on the court still where the Pacers just beat the Pistons. A nice win for the Pacers. You can laugh at Detroit all you want. They're good this year, and this was a key tiebreaker game for the Pacers. Two teams separated in the standings by just a few games. Pacers' final score in this one, 133-119, as they secure their season series with Detroit and move 4.5 games ahead of them in the standings. Really 5.5 now with that tiebreaker. Huge win for the Pacers just in that way, but how they got it done was really fascinating, right? A lot of questions coming into this, including from me, about how the Pacers' travels back from France, if any, would have impact on, their level of play, and by mostly, I mean their physicality, their rhythm, right? It's been so broken up by potentially by jet lag, and they looked great, right? The Pacers started really strong in this game. It set the tone. Their biggest lead was 20 in the first half. They were great in the first quarter. They got their lead over 15 early, and Detroit, valiant fight back every time the Pacers would go on a run, but they could never get it back closer to, a one-possession game even. The Pacers never trailed in this game as they got it done and fought off all of that, right? I think the story of the game from a micro perspective, or maybe even the thing people will unfortunately in some cases remember, is how chippy this game was, which was not unexpected necessarily. I didn't expect it to reach this point, but after the game in Detroit they had a few weeks ago, words exchanged at the buzzer, coaches were chatting off to the side. We heard saw the video, the Lego comments from Isaiah Stewart, and then it escalated, right? And apparently the Pistons were rightfully chatting when they were winning here in this building in the NBA Cup game they played last year, right? So this is kind of crescendoed into tonight, and it became chippy once again. Isaiah Stewart only plays 7 minutes and 46 seconds, gets 2 techs, and is ejected. He didn't take a shot. He had 1 point, 1 assist was his final stat line. His first tech was for him and James Johnson got into it. Appeared to be just verbal, as a timeout was called, and Isaiah Stewart was on the Pacers side of the floor still. Who knows what was said or what happened? James Johnson got a tech for that as well, right? So clearly that escalated into something, and they needed to be separated. Okay, that's fine. Then early second quarter, unprompted, Isaiah Stewart just leans in and smashes Thomas Bryant. They ruled a flagrant 2 by the officials, which means there was, intent and force, and it is just the worst kind of flagrant. He was ejected instantly for that. He made contact with the ref. Just rough to see it work out that way. And that wasn't the end of the techs in this game. JB Bickerstaff, the coach of the Pistons, ends up getting one. Cade Cunningham ended up getting one. A lot of chatter with officials. I can't remember if there was another one from the Pacers. I believe the Pacers had one tech in the middle of the game that I'm forgetting as I scroll through. But yes, on Miles Turner, that's right, for grabbing Malik Beasley during a transition opportunity coming back, right? That was just a lot more than the typical game. And the Pacers and the Pistons talked about it afterwards. It descended beyond basketball chatter apparently in this one, which is never good. You never want that as either team, and that's unfortunate. It was the last game of the season series. These two teams won't play each other until at least October, right? Unless they meet in the postseason. So that's what that was. But that was the micro story of the game, is how chippy it was, how many separations there were and stoppages and techs. But the Pacers kept their flow through all that, and that's how they got this done. Because from a macro sense, what I will remember from this game, I hope most people do too, from the basketball perspective, is when this game was about to start an hour and a half earlier, we learned from Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle, no Andrew Nembhard for the Pacers. He's got a back injury. He's out. They hope he can play Saturday when they're back. Ben Mathurin, he's sick. He's out, right? So they're missing 2 starters that have been a part of an awesome defensive starting 5. And they're going against Cade Cunningham, who tore them up earlier this season, who's a wonderful offensive player. And Andrew Nembhard just did an awesome job defending him just a few weeks ago, right? So without him, they're going to have to find solutions against a terrific creator. And they didn't have 2 premier players to do it. Well, 2 ways to get around that. One is they started Ben Shepherd and Aaron Nesmith, 2 defensive wings, and a lot of their defense on Cunningham was done by Ben Shepherd, who started the game on him, and they trapped him a lot, right? Early in the game, Cade Cunningham seeing a press, got an 8-second call that couldn't get over the line, and the Pistons had a 24-second call early in the game, and Cade certainly figured stuff out. He had 32 and 9. He played a fine game, but he had 4 turnovers. His defense wasn't good. The Pistons got smoked by 23 in his minutes, right? Pacers deserve a ton of credit for that. Shepherd shot the ball well, too. He had a great game. Nesmith did not shoot the ball well, but was still plus 20 because of the way he fought on the defensive end, right? They had a plan for him. Tobias Harris killed the Pacers with mid-range jumpers, but that's it. He was 1 for 8 on threes. He didn't finish well at the rim, so that's one way the Pacers disrupted that aspect of missing 2 key starters, was defending pretty well against the Pistons' best players, right? Malik Beasley hit 6 threes. He got going. Jalen Duren always does well against the Pacers. Asar Thompson in his limited playing time was efficient and played well. A lot of guys played well. Right? The Pistons scored 119 for a reason, but the real reason the Pacers got over the hump beyond that micro adjustment was their star players were simply sensational. Sensational. Pascal Siakam, maybe a stretch, maybe I'm missing some because he had only, air quotes, 6 rebounds and 4 assists, which is still totally fine numbers. 37 points for Pascal Siakam. His first time over 30 this year. He had 29 several times. He's been 25 plus, I think, a dozen times entering today. Smokes that 30-point barrier with 37 in this game, plus 32 in a 14-point win, meaning the Pacers lost the 17 minutes he was off the floor by 18. He was unreal. The Pistons never wanted to double-team him. J.B. Bickerstaff talking before the game about how tough of a cover he is. You know, you want to sometimes put a speedier player on him or a big on him. You never know. And they tried Jalen Duren on him. It didn't work. And Siakam just steady killed him with those mid-rangers, as he does. He had 4 threes. That helps. But 11 twos. 11 for 14 on twos. And not even the typical, like, duck-ins, post-up, turn. He just crushed them. Crushed Detroit from the mid-range. Magnificent night for Siakam playing his way. He was just simply sensational in every way, and the Pacers do not win without him, and the Pistons never quite adjusted to him. His defense was good enough. You know, it wasn't awesome, but it was good enough in this game. It was maybe his best scoring. It was certainly his best scoring game as a Pacer and one of his best in total, and they needed him to be awesome to get this win, and Tyrese Haliburton equaled him in terms of playing very well in this game. Haliburton, bobblehead night for him, WWE night in this building. He hit 4 threes. He was shimmying like crazy. He was 6 for 8 on his twos. He had 7 boards, 8 assists, only 1 turnover, 30 points for him. 67 combined for the Pacers' 2 star players, 1 point shy of half the Pacers' point total. Over half of the Pacers' point total in this game as they hit 133. They were both just phenomenal together. And that is, you know, a tough thing for opponents to adjust to, right? Because the Pacers have other shooters. You know, Miles Turner 4 for 6 from deep, Ben Shepherd 4 for 6 from deep. So it's hard to really sag off those guys, or you're giving up a ton of threes. Pacers hit 19 in this game. Their offense was really good in that way as well, 28 assists. But the other thing that made this tough for Detroit is, you know, outside of Obi Toppin, who had a really rough game, a lot of the Pacers bench stepped up too, right? Even when Haliburton and Siakam were not there, McConnell was great. He was 7 for 9 in the first half on his way to 14 points and 6 rebounds and 3 assists and 3 steals. Thomas Bryant was physical and played well. He got big cheers from the crowd when he came out, right? They got a lot from their second unit. Jarris Walker filled in well defensively on Cade Cunningham at times as well. They needed him with Nesmith with Nembhard and Mathurin out. So everybody who played really contributed something, or almost everybody, for the Pacers. But their defensive work on Cade without 2 great defenders, their stars stepping up, and TJ McConnell carrying the ball handling load for the second unit got it done in a chippy game for the Pacers. Much more coming on Locked On Pacers tomorrow. See you then.